Dear son, today let's go back to the beginnings of the African American male, back to the 1600s. Let's start with Anthony Antonio Johnson. Remember how I said that throughout history, African Americans have overcome incredible odds to succeed? Well, Johnson was perhaps one of the first to fit that mold. Historians believe that Johnson arrived on this continent in 1621 as, for all intents and purposes, a slave. Though there were not yet formal laws governing slavery, Africans did not come here voluntarily, and they were not free to leave. We'll talk about this more in future conversations. Johnson's owner, a Puritan, allowed him to farm a small piece of land independently while still a slave. Essentially, he leveled the playing field for Johnson. In turn, Johnson worked hard, married, and was eventually given his freedom. In the years that followed, he became a prosperous landowner, the father of at least 4 children, and yes, a slave owner. No candidate for sainthood there. Johnson was a man following the cultural norms in which owning slaves and indentured servants, black, white, and Indian, was an indication of one's social class and not specifically tied to race. Johnson and his future wife met while working on Edward Bennett's plantation. He was given an official commendation for his hard labor and known service. In the late 1630s or early 1640s, he moved to a plantation in Northampton County on Virginia's eastern shore. In 1651, he was given 250 acres of land for paying for servants to be transported into the colony under the headright system. Johnson's son, John, received a patent for 550 acres of land. Another son, Richard, owned a 100-acre estate. Johnson was adept at using the court system to his advantage, successfully petitioning for a tax abatement after his plantation burned down. He also sued for the return of a slave stolen by his white neighbors. He not only got back his slave, but was also paid damages by his neighbors. The family moved to Maryland in the mid-1660s. Johnson died in 1670. A great story, but unfortunately it doesn't end there. For maybe the first, but certainly not the last time, the family's upward trajectory was cut short. The courts decided that Johnson's family had no right to his original land in Virginia because he was a Negro and by consequence an alien. Also, the neighbor he sued successfully to get back his slave, that family got 50 acres of Johnson's land that he had given to his son Richard. In my opinion, son, the courts well understood the potential danger in allowing a black family to build multi-generational wealth and influence. Not sure you get it, but this was no longer just one man. As a group, the Johnson family had positioned itself to be wealthy and influential for many years to come. This was true progress. So they took away what this black man had earned within 30 years of coming to this country in chains. Now, make no mistake, it's incorrect to make saints out of any person or group of people. George Floyd was not a saint. It's not necessary to ignore his criminal record or get upset when it's brought up. He was not perfect. Neither was Ahmaud Arbery or any of the other black and brown men and women in the news as of late. They made mistakes because they are human after all. But they didn't have to be perfect or even close to perfect to warrant humane treatment. This seems incredible to me, but I would also like to hear from you, son. What do you think? I've given you some time to read Johnson's story and jot down your ideas. However, I know the rest of this letter is a surprise to you, so you can feel free to comment on anything I've just said. So what do you think? I know that was a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right?
It's kind of like surprising and shocking.
What's surprising and shocking?
Like the whole story, like once he cut his family's wealth down, just like it was kind of like a twist. Like it was also kind of like sad.
Sad? Okay. What was the first thing that came to mind when you read that story?
The first thing that came to mind was just like it kind of has the connection with all these stories from now, like about African Americans being unfairly treated.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. It's definitely all connected. That's why I wanted to kind of start way from the beginning.
And also now I realize now like why Johnson such like a popular African American last name.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. It may have been the ancestor of a lot of the Johnsons that are around today. Um, what did you think about him owning slaves as a black man? What did you
It
think
just
about that?
seemed kind of weird to me. Like nobody should really be owning slaves, no matter like the race or anything.
Yeah, that's true. But do you understand during that time it was like that was like an indication that he had risen up in a higher social class?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think he looked at it as a black man owning a black man. I think he sort of saw it as I have a little bit of money now, so this is what I should do.
Okay.
Why do you think they took away the family's land?
Because I think like you were saying they knew something might happen if they let like make any more like progress, like they could rise above all of them.
Okay. How would things have been different if they hadn't taken away the family's land?
If they had taken away the family's land, the family would be like very still very successful.
I think the family as a whole, the Johnsons, would be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts you have?
No.
No. By the way, how old are you?
That 12.
And what grade are you going into?
7.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, son, for taking the time to talk with me.
Yo.